Now, in a diverse nation like ours, and I celebrate that, these rules become even more important. Without them, we risk becoming an island of strangers.
Did you hear that? Keir Starmer says we risk becoming an island of strangers. Is Keir Flip-Flop Starmer actually serious all of a sudden about sorting out the mess that is the immigration levels into this country? Or has he just suddenly changed his tune all of a sudden and is copying Farage now in a desperate attempt to win back popularity after the disastrous local election results? Let's take a listen to the rest of what he had to say.
Not a nation that walks forward together. So when you have an immigration system that seems almost designed to permit abuse, that encourages some businesses to bring in lower paid workers rather than invest in our young people, or simply one that is sold by politicians to the British people on an entirely false premise, then you're not championing growth, you're not championing justice, or however else people defend the status quo. You're actually contributing to the forces that are slowly pulling our country apart. So yes, I believe in this. I believe we need to reduce immigration significantly.
Well, I cannot believe that I'm hearing those words come out of Keir Starmer's mouth. It goes completely against what he has said in the past. Now, we're going to show you shortly some clips of what he has said in the past, but let's take a look at some of the fallout as a consequence of this new immigration white paper and his consequent speeches that have come out today. Let's take a look at what Nigel Farage had to say.
Nigel Farage, Labour are tackling immigration. Are you worried?
Really? Really? They weren't before May the 1st, were they? I mean, Keir Starmer has spent his whole career campaigning for free movement of people, wholly unconcerned about this subject. So much so that their massive parliamentary majority was gained without immigration even being one of their five main priorities. Now, of course, he knows that amongst the great British public, this issue rates even higher than the health service, and he's just basically playing catch-up with reform.
Playing catch-up with reform, that's what Nigel Farage thinks. As you could see from his happy smiler demeanour there, he does not seem too concerned about the potential threat these policy announcements could cause to the Reform Party. I think Nigel Farage, like many people, just thinks, I'll believe it when I see it when Keir Starmer makes an announcement like this, because, various other policy promises, I mean, how many promises were made before the general election that ended up being total lies and just talk and no action, right? So, and he points out there that this goes completely against what Keir Starmer has campaigned for in the past in his career. So why should the general public trust him? At least with Nigel Farage, right? If Nigel Farage and Keir Starmer are saying the same thing about immigration, I feel like they're going to trust Nigel Farage more out of the two of them. I don't think Keir Starmer copying Nigel Farage's policy is going to really take many voters away from Nigel Farage and towards the Labour Party, because going on the basis of track record of previous views and what they believe in, very clearly Nigel Farage has always stuck to his guns and been very clear about what he thinks about immigration. But Keir Starmer, well, he's called Keir Flip-Flop Starmer for a reason, and we're going to take a look at this Telegraph article here that goes back in time and shows us some old clips of what he has said in the past with regard to immigration. I think that this photo that they've put in this Telegraph article is absolutely fantastic. So well done to whoever is in the graphic design department there. But let's take a look back at some of the things that he said. So interestingly, Keir Starmer 5 years ago was part of a group of MPs that were campaigning against the deportation of 50 foreign criminals to Jamaica, and he's been highly concerned in the past about attempts by the Tories to stop foreign criminals being able to use human rights laws to fight deportation. Now, the reason why I make a point of that is because this new immigration white paper that has come out, amongst the various policies that they are introducing, is they are trying to change the rules with regards to the way judges can consider ECHR, Article 8 human rights rules, things like right to a family life, they are supposed to only use those in, I think it's, quote, extreme circumstances or extenuating circumstances. And they are going to change the rules on that. So, extreme is considered more extreme. Like, it would have to be very, very rare if you're a foreign criminal that you're able to use these rules. So it seems like the policies that they are introducing in this new white paper go against what Keir Starmer avidly campaigned for in the past. And interestingly, the maiden speech, the first speech Keir Starmer ever gave in Parliament as an MP in 2015 was about this. So let's take a look at this clip. We've got it here in the Telegraph. So let's take a look at this.
We now celebrate the 800th anniversary of Magna Carta. Let us affirm the principle that human rights apply to everyone equally. Any proposed British Bill of Rights inconsistent with that principle will not be worth the paper it's written on and will face widespread opposition. As we now celebrate...
There we go. Anything going against allowing people to use their human rights wouldn't be worth the paper, says Keir Starmer. But now the new proposals coming out are suggesting that foreign criminals should not be able to use human rights laws to fight deportation. So quite the 180 from Keir Starmer, which really does make you think, should I really trust what this guy's saying? Does he really mean what he's saying in these policy proposals, or is this just political football? And also there is another clip which I should show you, which is from January 2020, where he doesn't seem to think that mass migration is a problem. He thinks it's just poor planning. So let's take a look at this clip. So here we go.
The wider case on immigration. We welcome migrants. We don't scapegoat them. Low wages, poor housing, poor public services are not the fault of migrants and people who've come here. They're political failure. Political failure. We need to make the wider case.
Did you hear that? It's just political failure. So issues with public services and whatnot and housing that come, I mean, anyone who's got a single brain cell knows if you bring an insane number of people into the country each year, that the housing and the public services won't be able to keep up, even if you have got good planning and good politicians. I'm not saying that the planning and the politicians were great in the past, but I mean, a little bit of common sense. Clearly, he did not have that. And in the past, in 2020, he was suggesting that, they just sort of planned better. They just should have built houses at 1,000,000 miles an hour to deal with whatever number of migrants from around the world want to turn up in Britain each year. We can take all of them, we just need good planning. Really? What an idiot. But suddenly now he has changed his tune. And you know what? This change of tune, it is pleasing nobody. Okay, you would think that this might be a win for the Labour Party, finally showing that they are serious about immigration and they want to crack down on it. I'll be happy if I see the number of boats coming in reducing. I'll be happy to see if they do manage to smash the gangs, if they do manage to bring the numbers down. But it's not working from a PR point and from a popularity point, because both the left and the right are absolutely furious. So various Labour MPs, there is quite a rebellion brewing in the Labour Party. Keir Starmer's position as the leader of the party and the Prime Minister is starting to look less and less secure. There's a lot of talk of Angela Rayner plotting to oust him. So while we've got people, my point of view, people in the Reform Party saying, Keir Starmer's being way too weak on immigration, you've also got within the Labour Party, especially not just people who vote for the Labour Party, but people who are active Labour Party members and Labour MPs. They are much more left-wing than Keir Starmer, typically, and a lot of them are furious about this. So this is just one tweet from, there are various Labour MPs that are absolutely fuming about this and think that Keir Starmer is some sort of, evil racist now, who's just doing this to give in to the Reform Party, and they think he's a horrible, evil human being now who doesn't care about immigrants. And so this is Belle Ribeiro Addy, MP, and she says the government's announcement this morning was an insult To those who have made the UK their home, these migrants are not strangers, they are our friends, neighbours and family members. It is shameful that they are being scapegoated in this way. And that sentiment that you're hearing there from this MP, this is very similar to the sentiment that you are seeing from various Labour members online, as well as other Labour MPs. Like, the unity in the Labour Party is starting to fall apart. Meanwhile, for example, on net zero, you've got plenty of eco zealots in the Labour Party who are much more ideologically driven, who will be furious at any watering down of net zero commitments. But then you've also got people like, Tony Blair, for example, and even the unions have come out. Or at least one of the unions have come out saying, you've got to scrap the net zero, or at least change it and make it more pragmatic. And Keir Starmer, he just doesn't know what to do with himself, and he can't please anybody because people in the party are going to be upset whatever he does. And just as the left are annoyed with Keir Starmer's various announcements today, so are the right. I've got a couple of tweets here. So Keir Starmer, he put out this tweet which, it didn't sound like him. It didn't sound like he'd written it. He probably didn't write it. He probably got some assistant to write it, let's be honest. But you can't believe him when you read this tweet from Keir Starmer, which says, "The Tories lost control of our borders and let net migration soar to record levels, undercutting hardworking Brits. I won't stand for it. I promise to restore control and cut migration, and I'm delivering with tough new measures. British workers, I've got your back." It just doesn't sound like him, does it? And Matt Goodwin tweeted this and said, "I've never seen a Prime Minister gaslight on this scale before. Labour have decriminalised illegal migration. Labour have presided over record numbers of illegal migrants. Labour have expanded the use of hotels for illegal migrants, costing you $2 billion a year. Labour are forcing British taxpayers to subsidise big business to outbid the British people in the housing market so that they can prioritise people who break our laws. And Labour are literally forcing British workers to pay more tax than Indian workers in Britain." Exactly. So Keir Starmer's track record really does not add up compared to the tweet that he posted. Keir Starmer posted a tweet about the need to speak English. Okay, there was a video of Rupert Lowe that went pretty viral where he was on a podcast and he was very brutal about, if you live in England, you will speak English. No more NHS interpreters. The amount of money that we spend on interpreters, especially in London, in the NHS is just absolutely gastronomical. He was on Politics Live talking about that. So there's been quite a lot of talk about the requirement to speak English in this country, and this new white paper it makes the requirements tougher in terms of your English speaking ability. And so Keir Starmer tweeted, "If you want to live in the UK, you should speak English." That's common sense. It is common sense. I agree with him, but I don't get the feeling that Keir Starmer has had this opinion that it's common sense until now. Like, where was he saying this in the past? Where was he saying it's common sense that you have to speak English in the UK before the local elections? This just feels like it's come out of nowhere. And Chris Rose, he tweeted this and he said, "Careful, Keir Starmer, you'll get 31 months in prison for posting this." Well, you would if you were an ordinary working class citizen. And you know what? It's so true. It is so true. That statement there that Keir Starmer has put, I wouldn't put it past the police to go, "Oh, that's a racist tweet," and then come after you and knock on your door. But if Keir Starmer says it, it's fine. Yeah, nobody is really that impressed by Keir Starmer's announcements today. I think he probably was hoping that this was going to be a big win for him and that he was going to get all his support back, and all the people who defected to reform in a sort of protest vote will be coming straight back to the Labour Party. But, we'll wait and see the polls that come out over the next few weeks. Hopefully there will be some, and I've got a sneaky feeling Labour aren't going to be doing too well in them. I don't think they'll be bouncing back. And the polls generally, show that once a Prime Minister has lost their reputation, it's pretty hard for them to get it back. It usually, once it's gone, it's gone. So that's the latest on Keir Starmer's new immigration rules that are coming in. Thank you very much for watching this video. Subscribe to The Reason if you haven't already.